$4 and New York is $8 and vice versa, and then you have more friction. So I think disparity obviously is an issue in how to get the formula right. But the question I had that comes out of that is about the referendum is, this has been an issue that's been for years, even before I moved into news. It's been going out there for years, and the issue is about having data. Two questions are, as far as I understand, all the data is publicly available. A lot of people, in time for good, maybe didn't care so much, but that it's all publicly available information. And then secondly, thinking of, assuming that's true, the same sort of what I think Dr. Johnson about, nothing like the imminent prospect of Haman's use to get people to focus. Would not, if the 27th, would that not give the board enough time to really look at the publicly available information and review and come to a consensus on what is the actual figures while they're waiting for that to vote? We're gonna get that information.
Well, today, and I don't know what has been done preliminarily at all. I don't know. Today's the 22nd of March. The ballot question has to be determined submitted to the county clerk by April 8th. So that's the time frame we're looking at. Assuming that if for some reason the board is not able to, and I hope this doesn't happen, but if they can't come up with their budget determination for tonight, they have to do something between now and April 8th in order to put that together. If there's not another meeting between now and April 8th, there's not an opportunity to do that with respect to the cost apportionment piece. So I don't know where the information base is right now. I don't know what's been done beforehand. If not on April 27th, and I'm not, then we would get into, somebody asked about this gentleman asked about whether you'd incur additional costs. The next special election is September. You would incur additional costs to do a special election for that, but you could do it in September. You didn't do it now. Either way, if you're looking for the change in the cost apportionment, that would not take effect until the 11-12 school, 12-13 school year. So either way, it's not going to come into the next budget cycle.
Right. If it was voted on tonight, that would give more than a month to get a consensus on that.
No. My point is they have to decide by April whether they think this is a good question to put before the voters. They don't have until the 27th. The voters,
the dissemination of the information.
The voters would, well, right. Are you talking about the voters making the determination, or are you talking about the board making the determination?
The voters. If they
the voters. Well, yeah, they have.
That would, they could say, okay, yeah, there's sometimes after people get question information.
The voters would have that, yes.
Together, they have a consensus that would say, here's the data. Whether you like it or not, here's the data.
No different than the school budget information. It's available now. You've got until the 27th. There's information sessions. You can get that information. You can make your determination. I think the question that I'm hearing is, does this body have enough information to feel comfortable in putting forth to the voters for consideration what they think is the best solution to the issue?
Or with a deadline for them to do that rather than
that's a possibility. Yeah. Yes, sir.
I'd like to address the board. Is this the appropriate time?
No, we're not open to the public right now. You'll have an opportunity in a little while.
Other questions? Over here, yes, Deb. And thank you for pointing that out.
My concern is early on you said usually the children at teenagers, the kids, students don't feel an impact in this kind of situation. The young lady brought up equal services. My concern is, as a taxpayer, what is the bottom line to me, which no one can tell me right now, and my second concern is, as a mother, with two students who are coming into the high school in a couple of years, I already feel that there's a disparity in terms of services between the two buildings. Will that disparity grow if we go to a per-pupil cost base?
I don't think it makes a difference. Because the question is, this young lady has two children who are going to enter the high school.
Yes.
She believes that there's a disparity of services available between the two high schools. And her concern is that, her question is, will a per pupil cost allocation increase that disparity? The answer to your question is, it really has nothing to do with any real or perceived disparity. That the cost allocation formula simply would speak to how much money is available, how the money that is to be raised for school purposes in the overall regional district, how that's going to be paid for by the different communities. It's kind of like the question this young lady asked before, a student, I'm sorry, repeat your name. Madison asked. She asked whether or not it's going to go to a different school. It doesn't go to a different school. It goes to the big board pot, and then the board makes determinations as to how it gets allocated for different programs and services and staffing levels and so on, based on recommendations from the district.
Based on pupil percentages?
No.
I mean, so there is then a sacrifice at a certain point?
No. The money that's coming in to the district is the money. Can you tell me what the proposed tax levy is for this
41
year's
million.
budget?
Tax levy
41 million. 41 total.
Okay, $40 million. Take 41 with debt service, 38 with tax levy. Okay, let's take the and how much state aid? Not a lot. So about 42 million, not counting debt service. About 44 million counting debt service. Put the debt service to the side. That's for the principal and interest on the bonds that built buildings. Okay. There's your base budget. The district has 41, or did I just say, $41 million. Where that goes, how that goes within the district in terms of implementation of the budget is based on approval from this body, based on direction from administration. How much each community pays doesn't mean a lick of difference. Whether you break that 41 million up based on, I don't want to go for 38 million up, or the debt service 41, based on the pupils in each community, or based on the ratables in each community, the bill still gets paid. So the question of disparity in the schools is, it doesn't relate to this cost appropriation. It doesn't have a factor. It may be an issue. It's an issue in your mind, clearly. And maybe that's a conversation that needs to be had with folks here, or maybe with administration, or your concerns. But as far as the payment of that bill, it doesn't matter which way you do it.
But which is why I believe that there was probably some idea that as Long Valley residents, we would automatically say no to any kind of proposal that has no impact study. Because at the end of the day, we have, Central has a much larger student-to-teacher ratio than Mendon does. They have more classes off to their room than ours do, and yet they have apparently a small amount of students.
I don't know, I can't speak to that, but what you're telling me is there's a trust issue. There's a trust issue, and then it's not the cost appropriation. It's a different question in your mind. And that what I would tell you is that concern really is not part of this argument. That the way the budget is funded, and which community pays more or less, as the case may be, you still have the bottom line dollar numbers are the same. How the district and how the board and administration then distributes those monies, different question. That's your question. You don't think it's being done in an equitable manner.
Well, and I also don't know how it's going to impact me financially.
Well, now the cost apportionment thing plays. Now you're focusing on the question. How does it impact you financially? That's a significant question. And that's the issue when you change it. Unfortunately, the way the structure is in place, the way it works now, when you have a base structure and you're going to change it, you're going to shuffle the deck, there's winners and losers. How much? Depends on the cost apportionment. It's one of the reasons, I keep wanting to point here, I can't. It's one of the reasons why Great Meadows Regional was able to approve its 100% pupil count as it did. They had no beginning. They had no base upon which there was a change. It was all new. So they could look at it and say, what do we really think is more appropriate? For whatever the reason, I mean, whatever the analysis was, and they could make that determination. It's harder when you've got a built-in status quo to start with, because now you're going to change. Unless you're West Windsor Plainsboro, and the change isn't too significant either way, now you can think about the more philosophical questions like commercial ratables and keeping a stable, long-term cost apportionment that your numbers from your demographic study on pupil counts seems to indicate will work. Wow. I'll tell you what, it is, my watch says 8:59. These guys have other work to do. I'll take one more question, and if folks have others, I would be glad to answer them outside. But you guys have to work on a budget. I'm sorry, I got caught up in this. Yes, sir.
You made a point a few minutes ago, Neil Sigerty from Long Valley, that regarding the referendum. You have some, philosophical thing about, you have to look what you want, what you wish for the end result. I think the bigger question, which is the point you made, is what is the likelihood of a change? What's the likelihood of a different outcome? And to put a referendum out that will frustrate all the voters and residents, that will create more animosity, when the end result will still require the one district, that is Long Valley, to vote for higher taxes, is kind of tough.
Thank you, Mike. Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. I would say this, on the New Jersey school boards, if you look at the piece that you have, the information sheet, you will see I believe you have we don't. Let me give you, I'm going to give you, I'm going to give you my phone number if you'd like to call. This is dangerous. That's okay. That's okay. I'll take those. 609-278-5277. And my email is mkelver, KALVER@njsba.org. And thank you.
I'd like to make a motion to go into a 5-minute recess, 10-minute recess. No.